TAEHYUNG is making headlines again. TAEHYUNG just gave ARMY another reason to talk. After 2 huge BTS shows in Arlington, Texas, V is still dominating fan conversations, from an unexpectedly funny stage moment to his appearance, his performance, and the health revelation that has changed how many fans are watching this tour. And now that BTS has moved on from Arlington, the question is simple. What actually happened, and what is everyone talking about today? Let's get into the latest TAEHYUNG updates as of August 19, 2026. TAEHYUNG's Arlington moments are still everywhere. The ARIRANG World Tour has officially entered another major stage of its North American run. After Baltimore, BTS arrived in Arlington, Texas, for 2 consecutive shows at AT&T Stadium on August 15th and 16th. And once again, TAEHYUNG became one of the biggest talking points. The 2 Arlington concerts were a part of BTS' massive 2026 to 2027 World Tour, with the next North American stop scheduled for Toronto on August 22nd and 23rd, followed by Chicago on August 27th and 28th. But Arlington wasn't just another stop on the schedule. For TAEHYUNG fans, several moments from the Texas shows quickly began circulating online. And one of them was not even planned. TAEHYUNG's unexpected stage reaction goes viral. One of the most entertaining Arlington moments involved TAEHYUNG during a permission to dance segment. According to reports, V appeared ready for a large dance-along moment with the audience. But then the music suddenly stopped, and TAEHYUNG's reaction became the moment fans remembered. Instead of simply continuing as if nothing had happened, V showed a visibly frustrated and confused reaction. The unexpected interruption turned what could have been a routine concert segment into another memorable TAEHYUNG moment. Fans online quickly shared clips and reactions, with the moment becoming one of the lighter Arlington stories surrounding the tour. And honestly, this is exactly the type of TAEHYUNG moment that ARMY loves. It wasn't carefully scripted. It wasn't a major announcement. It was simply V reacting naturally when something went wrong on stage. And sometimes, those unscripted reactions become more memorable than the planned moments. But the Arlington conversation didn't stop there. Pharaoh TAEHYUNG becomes a fan talking point. Another Arlington moment attracted attention because of TAEHYUNG's appearance on stage. During his speech on the second day, fans began sharing images and clips that compared the look of his face under the stage visuals to the appearance of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. The comparison was playful, not an official concept. But fans quickly turned it into another viral discussion. That kind of reaction demonstrates something interesting about TAEHYUNG's presence. Even a relatively simple stage shot can become a topic of conversation because fans pay extremely close attention to his styling, expressions, hair, outfits, and overall appearance. The Arlington shows produced plenty of visual content for fans to analyze. And the result was another collection of TAEHYUNG fan cams spreading across social media. But while fans were talking about his visuals and funny moments, there was a much more serious topic still hanging over the tour: his health. TAEHYUNG's hearing revelation is still on ARMY's mind. Before Arlington, TAEHYUNG made a deeply personal revelation during a Weverse live with Jungkook. He told fans that he had been experiencing hearing problems for approximately 2.5 years. According to Yonhap news agency, TAEHYUNG said that if his left ear could hear at around 100, his right ear could hear only around 30. He also said that he was consistently taking medication and regularly visiting the hospital for treatment. That revelation immediately changed the conversation around his current tour activities. Why? Because TAEHYUNG is currently performing in enormous stadiums. He is surrounded by extremely loud music, complex choreography, stage effects, and thousands of screaming fans. And yet, he has continued participating in the ARIRANG World Tour. For many fans, that made his recent performances feel even more significant. But there is an important distinction here. Taehyung has not announced that he is unable to continue the tour. He has not announced that he is stepping away from BTS activities. What he has said is that he has been dealing with a hearing problem, receiving treatment, and continuing to take care of it. So any claims about his future schedule should be treated as speculation unless they come directly from BTS, Big Hit Music, or another official source. And this is particularly important because there is another BTS member dealing with an injury. Jungkook's injury also changed the way fans view the tour. During the same Weverse Live, Jungkook opened up about his own physical condition. He explained that he had significant inflammation around his shin and what he described as possible micro-damage to the bone. He also said that he wanted to jump and perform normally, but sometimes couldn't because of the pain. Jungkook emphasized that he wanted to manage the problem carefully so he could complete the tour. Why does this matter for a Taehyung story? Because the two revelations came from the same conversation. Together, they reminded fans that ARIRANG is not simply a massive comeback tour. It is also a physically demanding schedule. BTS is performing multiple stadium shows across different cities, sometimes with only short periods between performances. For Taehyung and Jungkook, that means managing their bodies while continuing to perform at an extremely high level. And that brings us back to Arlington. Because despite these health concerns, Taehyung still appeared on stage and delivered the kind of moments fans were waiting for. V's performance becomes the center of ARMY fan cams. After Arlington, fan-made videos of Taehyung began circulating widely. The reason is simple. Taehyung has always been one of the most heavily photographed members during live performances. His expressions, dance movements, interactions with the audience, and even small reactions frequently become individual clips shared by fans. The Arlington shows were no exception. Fan reports highlighted his stage presence across both nights, while clips from the performances continued circulating after the concerts ended. And there is a bigger reason why these clips matter. BTS ARIRANG Tour represents the group's return to large-scale stadium performances following their military service period. That makes every city part of a much bigger comeback story. For Taehyung, it also represents his return to the global stage as both a BTS member and one of the group's most recognizable individual stars. Which leads to another question. Where does the tour go from here? Toronto is next. The Arlington chapter is over. Now, the attention shifts north. BTS is scheduled to perform at Rogers Stadium in Toronto on August 22nd and 23rd. After Toronto, the group moves to Chicago for concerts on August 27th and 28th. The North American leg will then continue to Los Angeles in September. That means Taehyung's next major opportunity to create another viral moment is already approaching. Toronto will be especially interesting because the group is maintaining the same two-night stadium format. And based on what happened in previous cities, fans know that anything can happen during a live BTS performance. A funny interaction, an unexpected comment, a styling change, a spontaneous fan interaction, or simply another Taehyung expression that somehow becomes a viral meme overnight. But there is something else fans will probably be watching closely: his condition. ARMY are watching Taehyung's health more closely. Since Taehyung publicly discussed his hearing problem, fans have naturally become more attentive to his condition during performances. However, there is a line that should not be crossed. Fans can support Taehyung without trying to diagnose him from concert footage. A facial expression, a missed cue, or a moment when he doesn't respond immediately does not automatically prove that his hearing condition has become worse. The only confirmed information comes from what Taehyung himself has shared and from credible reporting. And what we know is straightforward. He has experienced hearing difficulties for around 2.5 years. He said his right ear hears significantly less than his left. He is receiving treatment. He is taking medication. And he continues to participate in the tour. That is the factual picture. Everything beyond that needs to be treated carefully. And perhaps the most encouraging part for fans is that Taehyung continues to show up. V continues to show his stage presence. Despite the attention surrounding his health, Taehyung has not disappeared from the spotlight. Quite the opposite. The Arlington shows produced more performance clips, more fan photos, and more discussions about his appearance. This is important because Taehyung's role during ARIRANG isn't limited to simply standing on stage. He remains part of the group's choreography, vocal performances, interactions, and overall concert production. And the scale of the tour makes that even more impressive. The ARIRANG World Tour spans dozens of cities across multiple continents and continues into 2027. For BTS, it is one of the biggest touring projects of their career. For Taehyung, it is another major chapter in his career as both an individual artist and a member of BTS. And there is still a long way to go. The next few weeks could bring more viral V moments. If Arlington proved anything, it's that Taehyung doesn't need a major announcement to become a trending topic. Sometimes, all it takes is one reaction, one expression, one outfit, one unexpected interaction, or one funny moment during a performance. That is why the upcoming Toronto and Chicago shows are already attracting attention. Fans aren't simply watching the official performances. They're watching fan cams. They're watching live stream clips. They're following social media updates. And they're sharing their favorite Taehyung moments almost immediately. The result is a continuous cycle where a small concert moment can become an international fan discussion within hours. And considering what happened in Arlington, the next viral V moment could come from anywhere. ARIRANG is still only in the North American chapter. Perhaps the biggest thing to remember is that the story isn't ending in Texas. Arlington was just another major stop in a much larger journey. After Toronto and Chicago, BTS will head to Los Angeles for 4 September shows at SoFi Stadium. The currently listed dates are September 1st, 2, 5, and 6. And after the North American leg, the ARIRANG World Tour continues into other regions. That means Taehyung still has months of performances ahead. More stages, more cities, more fan interactions, and almost certainly more moments that will end up all over social media. For ARMY, that's what makes this era so interesting. The comeback itself was already historic. But the individual moments happening along the way are creating a completely separate story. And Taehyung continues to be at the center of it. Taehyung's next chapter is already underway. So, what is the biggest Taehyung story right now? It may be the viral Arlington moments. It may be the funny reaction when the music stopped. It may be the fan discussion surrounding his appearance. Or it may be the much more personal conversation about his hearing condition. But all of these stories have one thing in common. They show Taehyung during a very important chapter of his career. He is back on enormous stadium stages with BTS. He is continuing the ARIRANG World Tour. And at the same time, he has become more open about a personal health issue that he has apparently been dealing with for years. For fans, the best response is not speculation. It's support. As BTS moves toward Toronto, Chicago, and eventually Los Angeles, ARMY will undoubtedly continue watching every performance and every new update. And if Arlington was any indication, Taehyung's next viral moment may already be waiting on the next stage. So now the question goes to you. Which Arlington Taehyung moment was your favorite? His unexpected reaction? His visuals? His performance? Or simply seeing V back on a huge stadium stage again? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more factual Taehyung and BTS updates as ARIRANG continues, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the ARIRANG story is still unfolding and Taehyung's chapter is far from over.